So, good morning, students. Hope everyone is fine at home. Okay. So, please take out your textbooks, India, People and Economy, and we were discussing about human settlements, right? In the last class, we discussed about different types of rural settlements, right? And now we are moving on to our next section, that is urban settlements. Okay, so we are going to discuss about urban settlements this period. Okay, guys. So we are going to discuss about urban settlement, right? So today we are going to discuss about urban settlements. So unlike rural settlements, urban settlements are generally compact and larger in size. As we have discussed before itself, right? So unlike rural settlements, urban settlements are more compact and larger in size. Okay, are larger in size. So they are engaged in a variety of non-agriculture, economic and administrative functions. So they are also engaged in variety of non-agriculture activities, right? We have discussed before, like rural settlements or rural areas are mainly engaged in primary activities like agriculture, farming and all, right? And the settlements, like urban settlements, are mainly engaged in non-agricultural activities, like which include economic activities, like, and also administrative activities, okay, functions. As mentioned earlier, cities are functionally linked to rural areas around them. Thus, exchange of goods and services is performed sometimes directly and sometimes through a series of market towns and cities. So, even if they are different, they are actually dependent, like they are depending each other. The city region or the urban area is depending upon the raw materials from the rural settlements. In the same way, for availing many of services and to get that manufactured product or manufactured products and all, rural areas are also depending upon urban areas. Okay, so exchange of goods and services is performed sometimes directly and sometimes through a series of market towns and cities. So this exchange is done through some market towns. There would be a market towns in a big urban areas. Okay, so the exchange of goods and services are done in this particular region. Thus, cities are connected directly as well as indirectly with villages and also with each other. They are also connected with each other. And you can see the definition of towns in chapter 10 of the book Fundamentals of Human Geography. So while we take Fundamentals of Human Geography, there is a chapter called Human Settlement. In that chapter, definition of town is given. But actually town is nothing like, town is actually an enlarged village. Okay, are actually enlarged forms of village where a manufacturing process happens and the wholesale retail selling happens. In the same way, it's a different types of professional services and functions takes place in these towns. So towns are actually an enlarged version of villages. Okay. Now we are going to discuss about, it's an important topic, that's evolution of towns. Okay, in India, we are taking the case of India. Okay, so towns flourished since prehistoric times in India, even at the time of Indus Valley civilization. Okay, Indus Valley civilization, towns like Harappa and Mohenjo-daro were in existence. Okay, you have learned in your history classes, right? Harappa and Mohenjo-daro civilization. That all these things, the whole phenomena, or what we say, whole thing called towns and all, they were present in that time itself. Okay, the evolution started from that time itself. The following period has witnessed evolution of towns. So this period has seen the evolution of towns. It continued with periodic ups and downs until the arrival of Europeans in India in the 18th century. So the first time when European entered India was in 18th century. You know which countrymen came to India first? Yeah, I can hear somebody saying, yeah, it's Portugal, right? Portuguese came, right? Portuguese came. Who was the leader? It was Vasco da Gama, right? Vasco da Gama, he started from Lisbon, right? He started from Lisbon and he covered the whole Atlantic Ocean. Via Atlantic Ocean he came, and he also covered that Cape of Good Hope, and he reached India. You know which place he reached? he reached in our Malabar coast, Calicut. Okay, so they were the first people who reached India. Okay, so on the basis of their evolution in different periods, Indian towns may be classified as ancient towns, medieval towns, and modern towns. Okay, so on the basis of evolution, according to the time period, we just mean that according to the time. Okay, time period, the towns are divided into three categories. One is ancient towns, medieval towns, and modern towns. Okay, so we will be discussing about ancient towns first. There are number of towns in India having historic background spanning over 2000 years. Most of them developed as religious and cultural centers. So as we know that India is a country which just give lots and lots of importance to its culture and religion. So most of the towns were developed on the basis of this culture as well as religion. Varanasi is the most important town among this. Varanasi, you must have heard, no? Lots and lots of temples are there in Varanasi, okay? And it's in Uttar Pradesh, and it is very much famous. It is also known as, we can just say that it's a type of a cultural town itself, right? Because lots of religious activities, religious things happen in this Varanasi, okay? So this is in UP actually. Then Prayag, that is in Allahabad, okay? That is in Allahabad, that is also in UP itself. Then Pataliputra, okay, Pataliputra was its old name, new name is Patna. You know Patna, it's in Bihar. Madurai, all of you must have even visited, right? It's nearby to our Trivandrum, right? It's in Tamil Nadu. Even it is known as the temple city, right? It is called Tunga Nagaram, okay, like New York. It is like Madurai. Madurai is called the temple city of India. Okay, so these are all ancient towns. Okay, and these were developed on the basis of religion and culture. Okay, now the next one are medieval towns. They are medieval towns. About 100 of the existing towns have their roots in the medieval period. So the towns which we see now were born or actually were just made on before about 100 years ago. Okay, most of them developed as headquarters of principalities and kingdoms. So they were developed due to the kingdom and principality. What does that mean? Because you know that many kings, emperor ruled India, right? So they had many headquarters. They had headquarters in most of the important places and all. So these headquarters, these things, just after a few years, after few decades, what happened? These just converted themselves into some towns. Okay, so these are based on that principalities and kingdoms. You know, different types of kingdoms were there. These are fort towns. Okay, which came up in the ruins of ancient towns. Okay, important among them are Delhi, Hyderabad, Jaipur, Lucknow, Agra, and Nagpur. So these are the examples of medieval towns. Okay, by seeing each name, you can understand that Delhi, you know, it's capital of India itself. Hyderabad, you know, Andhra Pradesh. So Jaipur, Lucknow is in Agra is in Uttar Pradesh itself, and you know its Taj Mahal is there. Nagpur, Jaipur is in Rajasthan. So all these places are somewhat like important towns actually, even now also. Now we'll be discussing about modern towns. Okay, so the British and other Europeans have developed a number of towns in India. So after this period, after the medieval period, what happened when Britishers came to India? Because Britishers came and they just colonized us. You know, they just conquered and they just occupied most part of India. And what they did, they just selected some important provinces, important parts of India, and they just made those places their headquarters. Okay, so this is the thing, and we will discuss that. Starting their foothold on coastal location, they first developed some trading ports at Surat, Daman, Goa, Pondicherry. So the first thing which they did was they just made hold of that coastal region or that harbor place port region where they just, because at that time there was no other transport rather than that of, ocean, right? So they just first occupied all these trading ports, okay, because that was the most important part to travel from one place to another, okay, even for their trading purpose also that was important. So they just first made these places the important stuff. The Britishers later consolidated their hold around their principal nodes. 3 principal nodes they just made their hands on. That was Mumbai, Bombay, Chennai, Madras and Kolkata, which is, before it was called Calcutta, now it's Kolkata. Okay, so these are the 3 important nodes from which they controlled the whole India and built them in the British style. And they have built these cities in British style. Even if you just go in these places, you can see some structures which are made by Britishers, and the style of the style of these the architectural style and everything is of their style, Britishers style. Okay. Rapidly extending their domination either directly or through control over the princely states, they established their administrative centers in hill towns as summer resorts and added new civil, administrative and military areas to them. So what happened after that, what they did was they just concentrated on some of the hill stations of India. They just selected some of the hill stations of India for making them their headquarters. What was the reason that they just choose these hill station? The first thing was that was actually their base for their troops. They just consider this hill station as their base for the troops. In the same way, they made strategic moves and also defense. Their guard of response and everything was just concentrated in this hill station. And the most important thing was that they were not able to adjust with the climate, the weather condition of India, because they are not used to it. So they just want to make an atmosphere which was similar to that of their country. And these hill stations like Munnar, Uti and all, these places are very much, they are having the same climate as that of their country. So they just wanted to escape from that hot weather. So for that purpose also they just use these hill stations. So Darjeeling is one of the example. Darjeeling was just developed by them only. Okay. Town based on modern industries also evolved in 1815. So 1815, modern industries also developed in India. Okay. Jamshedpur, it's called Steel City. Even now also it is called Steel City. Okay. Steel City of India. So Jamshedpur is an example of an industrial town. Okay, so it just started in 1850. Okay. Now, after independence, a large number of towns have been developed as administrative headquarters. So now that after that British period, after independence, what happened? There are many towns which just changed into the headquarters or the administrative headquarters, like Chandigarh. Chandigarh is Haryana, Bhubaneswar, Orissa. Gandhinagar, Gujarat. Dispur, it's in Assam. So while seeing this also you can understand that why they are the headquarters or the administrative headquarters, you can understand. And industrial centers such as Durgapur, Bhilai, Sindri, Barauni. And also there are many towns which just converted themselves into industrial centers, or Durgapur and all, it's known for its steel industry. All towns also developed as satellite towns around metropolitan cities such as Ghaziabad, Rohtak, Gurugram, around Delhi. In the same way, some satellite towns were also developed. Actually, satellite towns are actually referred to essentially smaller metropolitan area which are adjacent to a mega city, or means a major city. They are actually self-sufficient. And also independent. Okay, these are called satellite towns. Okay, so satellite towns around metropolitan cities such as Ghaziabad, Rohtak, Gurugram, around Delhi. With increasing investment in rural areas, a large number of medium and small towns have developed all over the country. So in the same way, now rural areas are also developing, and most of the rural areas are just changing from their rural definition to that of the urban thing. Okay, so number of medium and small towns have also developed in the coming years. Okay, now we'll be just moving on to urbanization in India. So the level of urbanization is measured in terms of percentage of urban population to total population. So what is urbanization is like? Urbanization can be the urban population to the total population in that particular country. So the level of urbanization in India in 2001 2011 was 31.16%, which is quite low in comparison to developed countries. When we just compare this urbanization rate with some developed countries, so it is very low. Total urban population has increased 11-fold during the 20th century. Enlargement of urban centers and emergence of new towns have played a significant role in the growth of urban population and urbanization. So, enlargement of urban centers and emergence of new towns, technology, industrialization, all these things have made way for urbanization in our country. Okay. But the growth rate of urbanization has slowed down during last 2 decades. But it is also important that if you just see this, see the changes, you can just see that there is a slight decrease, decrease in the decennial growth, right? From 1991 to 2001, 2011, if you just see, you can see that the growth is somewhat decreasing, right? Urbanization should be always increasing. If you just look at today's trend, but still, this thing is decreasing. So there are some reason. Okay, so we can just specifically say that there is a particular reason for that. We can just consider the reason for this as counter urbanization. Counter urbanization is a thing which happens mostly in developed countries. Like the counter urbanization is actually people moving from cities to rural areas. Because of some overcrowding of cities, maybe pollution or due to some inner city deprivation. So there are many reasons for counter urbanization. Maybe because of that counter urbanization, the growth rate of urbanization has slowed down. Maybe it won't be the right thing, it won't be the exact reason for that. It can also be a reason. Okay. So this is just a small paragraph about urbanization in India. Okay. Now we are moving on to one of the important topic, that is classification of towns on the basis of population size. So classification of towns on the basis of population size is very much important. Okay. So we'll see that. So Census of India classifies urban centers into 6 classes. Okay. It divides total urban centers into 6 classes. So it's in table 4.2. Urban center with population of more than 1 lakh is called a city or class 1 town. So what are class 1 town or city? So the population, urban center with population more than 1 lakh are called city or class 1 town. Okay. Cities accommodating population size between 1 to 5 million are called metropolitan cities. So what are metropolitan cities? Metropolitan cities are those cities which accommodate population size between 1 million to 5 million. 1 million is actually 1 crore. Okay, 1 million is 1 crore. So 1 to 5 million are called metropolitan cities. Okay, and more than 5 million are mega city. And the urban centers which accommodate more than 5 million population are mega cities. Okay, so on the basis of population size, the urban settlements are divided into 3 groups, right? And they are class 1 towns. Okay, class 1 towns or cities, in which the population size will be 1 lakh, right? It will be 1 lakh or more. Okay, and the second is metropolitan cities. They accommodate urban population of 1 to 5 million. Okay, and the urban centers which have a population more than 5 millions are called mega cities. Okay, so these 3 are the most important classes which we have to study in this chapter. So one is class 1, that is class 1 and city, which accommodate 1 lakh population or more, and the second is metropolitan cities that accommodate 1 to 5 million population, and the third one is mega cities. Okay, they accommodate more than 5 million of population. Okay, so majority of metropolitan and mega cities are urban agglomeration. So majority of metropolitan and mega cities are urban agglomeration. So what is urban agglomeration actually? Urban agglomeration is actually extension of city. Like extension, if a particular region is a city, the extension of that city area or that town area to the nearby areas. It can be a suburb, it can be an outgrowth. Okay, So it can be the nearby anything. Okay, so when that particular city is growing, and it is extending to the nearby area, it is called urban agglomeration. It can be a suburb, it can be outgrowths, whatever. Okay, so that is called urban agglomeration. Okay, so urban agglomeration is an extended city or town area comprising of most of suburb and outgrowths. Okay, so an urban agglomeration may consist of any one of the following three combinations. So urban agglomeration have three different combinations. So it is based on three different combination. Okay, so we can just see what are its three different combinations. The first combination is a town and its adjoining urban outgrowths. So the first combination is a town will be there, and with that town there would be its outgrowth, urban outgrowths. Urban outgrowths are actually, it can be college campus, it can be colonies, it can be a residential area. These are urban outgrowths. So the first combination is a town will be there plus urban outgrowths, and the second combination is two or more contiguous towns with or without their outgrowths. So second combination is there will be two or more towns. What types of towns? Contiguous towns. What are contiguous towns? Actually, those towns are the towns which share a single border, because they would be having a single border, and they will be, or they can be very near to each other. So they are contiguous towns. So the second combination is two or more contiguous towns with or without their outgrowths. So with all these towns there will be an outgrowth also. So we can include that outgrowth, or without outgrowth also can be considered as the second combination. Okay, and the third one is a city and one or more adjoining towns with their outgrowths together forming a contiguous spread. And the third one is a city will be there and its adjoining town will be there, and also its outgrowths will also be there. So third combination is a city will be there and its town will be there, and nearby town will be there, and also its outgrowth will be there. So all three will comprise together and will form a contiguous spread. Means they will be together, they will be very near to each other, or they will be sharing a single border, like they will be spread together. Okay, that is the third combination. So there is three combination. First one is a town will be there. The concept of I'm defining what is the concept of urban agglomeration. Urban agglomeration, you know, it's an extended area, right? It's extended area of a city or a town region, okay, which comprises of its suburbs, outgrowths, or anything like any nearby town, whatever. So that is urban agglomeration. Okay, and urban agglomeration is having three different combination. The first one can be like a town will be there and its adjoining outgrowths. Outgrowths, I have told you, it can be a college campus, it can be colonies or residential area. That is outgrowths. Second one, two or more contiguous towns. Contiguous towns are towns which are very close to each other, or have a single, or have the same border, or it can include their outgrowths, or without outgrowths also can happen. The third one is a city will be there and its adjoining town will be there, and its outgrowths are also included. Okay, so that is the third combination. These are the three combinations of urban agglomeration. Okay, it is evident from table 4.2 that more than 60% of urban population in India lives in class 1 town. You can see that. See, more than 60.45%, right? 60.45% of total urban population lives in class 1 towns. Out of 468 cities, 53 cities or urban agglomerations are metropolitan cities. So out of this 468 cities, 53 cities are urban agglomeration or metropolitan city. So we have 468 cities. Okay, in this more than 53 cities are metropolitan cities. 6 of them are mega cities with population over 5 million each. More than 1/5 of urban population lives in these mega cities. And in these 53 cities, 6 cities are mega cities. Okay, in this 53 cities, 6 ones are mega cities. Okay, so we have 468 cities in class 1, in which 53 cities are metropolitan cities, and in these metropolitan cities 6 of them are mega cities. Okay, and their population is more than over 5 million each, and they have approximately around 21% of total urban population. Okay, they live there. Among them, Greater Mumbai is the largest agglomeration with 18.4 million people. Or if a question comes, which is the largest agglomerated city in India, so the answer is Mumbai. It is having more than 18.4 million of population of people living over there. And the other mega cities are Delhi, Kolkata, Chennai, Bengaluru and Hyderabad. So these are the 6 mega cities. Okay, Mumbai, Delhi, Kolkata, Chennai, Bengaluru and Hyderabad. Okay. Now we are moving on to our next topic, which is also important one. That is functional classification of towns. We were discussing about the classification of towns based on population. We also discussed different types of towns based on the evolution, that is based on the time period they have been developed. And now we are going to discuss about towns classified on the basis of their functions. Okay. Apart from their role as central or nodal places, many towns and cities perform specialized services. So many cities and towns perform special things also, which just make them, their functions is different, which just make them different from other. Some towns and cities specialize in certain functions. They are known for some specific activities, products or services. So some cities are there, some towns are there which are much specific about their function. So they are known for that particular thing. Okay. However, each town performs a number of functions. On the basis of dominant or specialized functions, Indian cities and towns can be broadly classified. So, yeah, most of the cities perform different types of function, right? Every city is having different types of function and all. But there are some dominant functions or dominant characters or specialized function which just make them much more specific about that particular area. So, according to that, the towns are being classified. So we will be seeing to that. Okay. So the first one is administrative towns and cities. So what are administrative towns and cities? Towns supporting administrative headquarters of higher order are administrative towns such as Chandigarh, New Delhi, Bhopal, Shillong, Guwahati, Imphal, Srinagar, Gandhinagar, Jaipur and Chennai. So these are administrative towns. These are just example. We can say that Tirunelveli is also our administrative town. You can see that these are all the capitals of various states. Yeah, Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh, Gandhinagar, Gujarat, Srinagar, Jammu, then Guwahati, Jaipur, Chennai. Most of them are the capitals of different states, right? So that's why they are known as administrative towns. Okay. Now, what are industrial towns? Industries constitute prime motive forces of these cities such as Mumbai, Salem, Coimbatore, Modinagar, Jamshedpur, Hooghly, Bhilai. So these are the names of some of the industrial towns because their industries are given more importance or the dominant functions or they are specialized in some of the industries. Salem is very well known for its steel industry. Coimbatore is known for the electronic products. Modinagar is in Uttar Pradesh and it is known for various types of mills, paper mills, then thread mills, soaps, many things are there. So Modinagar is in Uttar Pradesh, and don't think that this name came after our Narendra Modi, means Prime Minister. It's not because of that, okay. That Jamshedpur is also known for iron and steel. Hooghly is in West Bengal. It's a river, Hooghly River. So it is known for leather industry, then jute industry, Hooghly, then Bhilai iron and steel company, right? So these are industrial towns. Okay. Now, transport cities. They may be ports primarily engaged in export and import activities. So they are engaged in export and import activity. They are mainly ports actually. For example, Kandla Kandla is in Gujarat. Kochi, check the spelling of Kochi, okay. Kochi is in Kerala. Kozhikode, Visakhapatnam, all these places are harbors or means ports actually. Or hubs of inland transport such as Agra. Agra is in UP. Dhulia, actually it's not Dhulia, it's Dhule, it's in Maharashtra. Mughal Sarai, Itarsi, Katni. Actually Mughal Sarai is in, I think Mughal Sarai, I'll just say Mughal Sarai is in Uttar Pradesh. Then Mughal Sarai is in Uttar Pradesh. Itarsi and Katni are in Madhya Pradesh. Okay, these are places in Madhya Pradesh. Itarsi and Katni are in Madhya Pradesh. Mughal Sarai is in Uttar Pradesh. Okay. Now we are moving on to our next topic, that is commercial towns. So towns and cities specializing in trade and commerce are kept in this class. So the cities which specialize in trade and commerce are called commercial towns, and examples are Kolkata, Saharanpur, Satna are some of the examples. So these are some of the examples of commercial towns, and Saharanpur and Satna are in Madhya Pradesh. Kolkata, obviously it's in West Bengal. Now we will move on to our next town, that is mining towns. These towns have developed in mineral rich areas such as Raniganj, Jharia, Digboy, Ankaleshwar, Singrauli. So with the name itself, I think you can understand that these are all engaged in different types of mining things, right? So Raniganj is in West Bengal, and it is known for coal mining. And Jharia is in Jharkhand, that is also known for coal. Digboy, that is in Assam, that it's petroleum. Ankaleshwar is also oil field in Gujarat. Ankaleshwar is an oil field in Gujarat. Singrauli is also mining of coal is being done in Singrauli, that is in Madhya Pradesh. Okay, so these are mining towns. Now we'll be moving into garrison or cantonment towns. Okay, so these towns emerged as garrison towns. These are garrison towns, which means cantonment towns. It's mainly showing it's mainly military area. We can just say that these are the hubs for military activities, like military hubs are mainly in this area. The examples are Ambala, Jalandhar, Mo, Babina, Udhampur, in which Ambala is in Haryana. It's in Haryana. Jalandhar is in Punjab, and Udhampur is in Jammu and Kashmir, and Mo, this is in Madhya Pradesh. This is in Madhya Pradesh, that is Mo. Babina is in Uttar Pradesh. Udhampur is in Jammu and Kashmir. Babina, I think you can just relate Babina. Babina is very much near to Jhansi. You must have heard the story of Jhansi ki Rani, who fought against the rivals, tying her baby in the back, right? That is Jhansi, and Jhansi is very much near to the Babina. Babina is in Uttar Pradesh, and Udhampur, that is in Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, so these are garrison cantonment towns. Okay. Now we are moving on to our next, that is educational towns. So starting as center of education, some of the towns have grown into major campus towns such as Roorkee, Varanasi, Aligarh, Pilani, Allahabad. So these are the names of some of the educational towns of India. If somebody asks what are the educational towns of India, you can then say that these are the educational town. Roorkee is in Uttarakhand, and Varanasi is in Uttar Pradesh. Aligarh, I think, you would have heard somewhere. Aligarh Muslim University, one of the best universities in India. That is Aligarh Muslim University. It's an old university, and it's a very, very good university. Then Pilani is in Rajasthan, and Allahabad, it's in UP. So these are some of the educational towns. These are educational towns. Okay. Now the next types of towns are religious and cultural towns. So we'll be moving on to religious and cultural towns. Varanasi, Madura, Amritsar, Madurai, Puri, Ajmer, Pushkar, Tirupati, Kurukshetra, Haridwar, Ujjain, came to prominence due to their religion and cultural significance. So due to their religions and cultural significance, these towns emerged. I think most of the places you must have heard. Don't confuse with this Madurai and this Madura. This Madura is in, this one is in UP and this one is in Tamil Nadu. Okay, so Varanasi, you know, Ajmer you must have heard, Haridwar you must have heard, Ujjain you must have heard, almost Tirupati, definitely, Amritsar, Sun Temple you must have heard. So all the places you must know all the places, and I know that you know also. Okay, now we are moving on to the next heading, that is tourist towns. So tourist towns, obviously you must know that. Nainital, Mussoorie, Shimla, Pachamarhi, Jodhpur, Jaisalmer, Udagamandalam, Ooty, Mount Abu are some of the tourist destinations. Nainital and Mussoorie are in Uttaranchal, I guess. Uttarakhand, I think. And Pachmori is in Madhya Pradesh. Then Jaisalmer, you know that it's in Rajasthan and all. Mount Abu is also in Rajasthan. Mount Abu is very much famous place. And Ooty, all of you know, because every year if you are going tour from your, even if you have gone tour in your 10th standard, definitely you must have gone to Ooty. Ooty is a specific place which all of us select while we choose our trip and also. So these are tourist towns. Okay, so we have and the cities are not static in their function. The functions change due to their dynamic nature. It is not specific that these cities are only doing, the functions are only the same which they are named of. It's not like that. They are always changing. Okay, the things are always changing. Even specialized cities, as they grow into metropolises, become multifunctional, wherein industry, business, administration, transport, etc. So as we know that we are in a developing state, right? We are in the wheels of development. So this development, most of things will change. A town which is only known for religious and cultural thing can be an industrial hub in future. So we can just say that only it is specifically only for this particular thing. So it's in a dynamic nature, so we should understand that. The functions get so intertwined that the city cannot be categorized in a particular function classes. So from now it is going to be a difficult thing to categorize cities on the basics of their functions, because in most of the places functions are similar. Only because of some things like tourist attractive places for tourists and religious and cultural buildings and all, because of that reason only these are named on the basis of their function. But now everything is changing, and this change cannot be we can't just delineate each town or cities on the basis of their function. So this is about classification of towns based on their functions. So classification based on towns on their functions are different types of towns are administrative towns, industrial towns, transport cities, commercial towns, mining towns, garrisons and cantonment towns, then tourist towns, then religious and cultural towns, educational towns, right? The same way on the basis of population also we have grouped our cities, class 1 cities, metropolitan cities and mega cities. In the same way we have also classified our cities on the basis of their evolution, that is ancient towns, medieval towns and modern towns. Okay, so this is about the different types of towns or different types of urban settlements in India.